Okay, so we have a broken glass on our dual oven. This is the outer glass. Fortunately, we can't buy just the glass. We've got to buy the whole entire exterior panel minus this here. So we're going to go ahead and this is how you remove this. First of all, we need to find our model number so that we can get our correct part. Usually your model numbers will be on the inside edge here or underneath the bottom side here. Ours happens to be on the bottom side right there, that little white panel and a little white sticker. And so what we do is take a picture of that so we're not hanging upside down looking at that. And then we'll go through and we'll Google the part and get the part ordered. This particular part number is a W105779111. And here is the panel that is out of the box. Has the little protective screen on here. We'll tear that off once we completely assemble this. And then here's where our handle is going to go. So, hand this over here to my cameraman while I go through here and take this off. You just pick up on these two little tabs here. You'll notice right here, there's another one on this side. Just kind of pinch it, or you can put a screwdriver in there wherever you need. Pull it all the way back as far as it'll go. Now we're going to close the door. It stops right there. We're going to close it just a little bit more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open that back out and pull it up and out, and it comes off. I'm going to come over this way. I've already laid out an old towel on the table so we don't get everything dirty or messed up over here. So what we have is we've got some screw holes here. We got one on here, one there, and the same thing on the opposite end. I'm going to go through and remove those screws real quick. Okay, so we've got our four screws removed. You'll notice there's some, pay attention whenever you're taking them out. There's some flat-head ones and there's some little pan-headed ones. You see that? And then also, some of them are longer than the others. See these little short ones and the big ones? So I want to make sure that we lay these out in the proper order. Our small ones go here, our big ones go on the bottom. Same thing for the opposite end, so we'll just lay these out like so. Lay them out separate. And now we're going to pull off this entire front assembly. It just pops out of there. I'm going to go through and I'm going to lay this over here out of the way. And now we've got to disassemble or take parts off of here and put them on our new one. So what we'll do is we'll take this right here. If you notice, it says up, and that's going to go inside towards the inside of the oven. Okay, so let's go ahead. This just lifts straight up. Be careful with it because it is glass. Two pieces of glass. We don't want to break those or have to order some more parts. And then set it down very slowly here. Sometimes you'll see little pieces of broken glass that have fallen in there, so just take those out, clean them up. Next thing we have here is look at these little panels here. We got to take these off, and then we've already taken these off, but they were little. I'll show you those in a little bit, like little springs, and they kind of help hold that glass into place. These will help hold your glass in and square it up. These two other ones kind of help hold pressure on it so it's not vibrating. We're also going to have to take out our hinges. And then, in addition to that, we need to take out these two screws here, which is what holds our front handle on there. So let's go ahead and get those done. You're going to come over here. This is our new panel, and I have already got this. First of all, you want to lay this out in the same orientation that you have your other one in. So you'll see this is where the hinges go. Okay, so we're in the same orientation. We're going to take one part off, put it on here. I've already got these little springs I was telling you about. These just kind of set them in on an angle. They go like that, just fall in place. Make sure when you take them out, you want to look at your holes here. So we have hole number one, hole number two. Hole number one, hole number two. Hold your finger here, pull that one out, pop that one in. Same thing with this. That way you know exactly where they go so we don't put the parts in the wrong location. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to take out these springs on both sides. Look at the orientation they're in. I'll show you really quickly how easy these are to take out. I can get my screwdriver. And I like using a screwdriver versus a drill just because these screw holes are not very, they're very shallow and I don't want to strip them out. It just, screw hole comes out and just pops out. Put it back in, screw in, you're good to go. I'm going to take these four out and then we're going to take these springs out, put those in. I'll show you those here in just a second. Go ahead and put them in here. Okay, so now we're going to take. We've got these springs on. Got these little These other springs on there, all those are in place. Now we're going to come in and take out our hinges. There's 2 screws here, one there. Same thing on the opposite end. So we're going to take these off and put them on the other side. And our last thing we'll do will be take off that front. The screws are kind of hard to take out. Don't want to turn on me. You can actually use, if you look at the screw hole, you can use a Allen wrench to take those out too. I think I'm going to have to use an Allen wrench or square head, because those are not wanting to turn on me. I can't get the screwdriver down level enough, so yeah. Let's go here and change out our toolkit. Get the square head in there. We'll take those out. Over here, same thing. We're going to need a, looks like we can just grab a like a 3/8 wrench, and we'll take these nuts off, and we'll go ahead and put those on there too. Okay, so I wasn't able to get my screwdriver in there and turn these. They kept on stripping on me, so what I did was I went ahead and just grabbed a 1/4-inch drive ratchet with a, I think that's a 1/4-inch socket, and then I just used a bit on here, and it allows me to get a little bit more torque so I can push on it and move at the same time. Go ahead and loosen all these up. We'll probably have to do that same procedure whenever we go through and install them, just so we can get that extra little bit of torque there. Once they're loosened up, then I can get them out of there with my screwdriver. Okay, so now we have the screwdriver here. Let me just unscrew these. Okay. And they're both the same screws. Make sure that neither one of them is different. Okay, and we just slide our hinge right out. This hinge with the spring there. Okay, now we're going to come over here. This is our new door. Just the same way we took it out of the old one. Maybe. A little dirtier. There it goes. Maybe. Halfway in there. Pause. Okay, so I was battling with getting this in there, so what I had to do was I had to take this off because that screw head was catching on this and not allowing that to pass. So just leave your bottom ones off and you'll put them on here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and this just slides in there. And then we put our screws in the screw hole there. Make sure they're lined up. And make sure these are lined up good because we don't want to go through and strip our screws. These are actually metal screws, not the coarse thread ones. Start in there good. Okay. Another one in here. And never, when you're putting an assembly on like that, never tighten one screw. Always get started in there about halfway and then put the other screws in. Once you got all your screws in completely, then you can go through and you can put a final torque of tightness on these. And the reason for that is because if you tighten up one screw and say this is sitting off like that, and you tighten up this screw, well now you can't get this hole centered up again. So get these on here. I'll grab my ratchet. I'll go through and put a final torque on those. Just kind of push up against it. Okay. Be careful with your glass. You don't want to break that glass. So. And we'll go ahead and do this other side real quick. Alright, so now we're going to take out our handle, which is down here. This is a number 9, so we're going to take that off. I went ahead and reversed our new one, and so that the handle's hanging off the side of the table just as this one is. So when we take this off, we can put it back on with the other one. I'm actually going to put an extension on my ratchet here, because it's hitting that top of the door. Once you get it loosened, you can just go through there and you can screw it and it'll come off there. Okay, it does have a lock washer on it. You'll see the lock washer there. You make sure that lock washer goes down. We put this back on. I've already loosened up this side, so we'll go ahead and take this off. Well, holding on to our handle on the bottom side so it doesn't fall off. Okay, it goes down. And if you'll notice, our screw came out with this one, so it's not just the nut, so we'll have to put that one back on this side. So now we're going to go on here. We got some glass on there, all the glass that was from the previous one. Take it off there, clean it out, bang on it, make sure all that glass comes out. Okay, and then we're gonna turn this thing 180 degrees since we have that one turned 180 degrees. So let's come over here, grab our tools, and let's put this one on. It's up through here. I'm just going to kind of hold that other side in place. With this one, we're going to go ahead and put the nut on with its lock washer. Maybe. And we're just going to hand tighten as far as we can get it. And that allows us to be able to not completely release this thing, but we can release that side. Now we come over here, and you want to make sure your hole's lined up. Line up your hole on your deal there, and we're going to start screwing this in again with the lock washer down. And we don't want to cross thread it, so we're going to get it started first. Once it gets started and it's got a couple of revolutions, then we'll go in and just tighten it with our, there we go. And I always like to use, same thing, just use this as a screwdriver first. Get it in as tight as you can get it. If you hear that glass kind of cracking, we don't want to get it too tight, or that's going to spell trouble for us. So I'm actually just going to hand tighten this. I don't like the way, even though that's just that glass pressing up against there, I don't like the way it sounds, so I don't want to over tighten this and end up having a broken glass again. So now we've got that done. Our last step is, we got to go back and we got to put this glass in. So remember, we have this turned 180 degrees. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to grab this glass and let's keep it in the same orientation. I'm going to rotate 180 degrees. And we're just going to drop it in there. Not drop, but just let it kind of slightly fall into place there. We don't want it to slam or risk breaking that glass. Make sure our upsides are on there. Now I can bring our outer panel, or actually this is the inner panel, bring it back over there. And this one we actually have to rotate it 180 degrees too, because we had rotated this panel earlier. Just line up those hinge holes, hinge slots right here on each side. Line those up with your hinges. Let this come down. So it goes down like that first, and then it pushes in, okay? So you gotta, I'll show you that again. You gotta put that on there. We're gonna have to be on this side over here, a little bit past it. Push it down, bring it flush, and then you push in. And now our screw holes should line up. We have our 4 screws here. Thing to remember about our 4 screws is the small one goes up top, the big one goes on the bottom. The reason we do that is because these are longer than the others. They're completely different screws. When we put these screws in, we don't want to tighten them all the way. We just want to get them started. Right there. Oops, that one didn't go in. Let's go start at the bottom side here. Going to get this screw on in. Get it started. Now we can try if we can get this one in. Yeah, it goes. Do the same thing on the opposite end. And we're just about wrapped up here. As soon as we get these screws on, we can put it on the stove or on the oven. Once we get it on the oven, we peel off that front blue sticker, that's protective coating that's on the stainless steel there. And then we're finished. Alright, so we got this replaced. I come in here and it's a lot heavier with the glass on there now. So line these up, and then you come over here. This one won't line up, so just pull out on it slightly. Got both of them in there. Make sure we have inwards pressure so that this doesn't pop out and drop on us. And we have this very secure so it's not going to fall down on us. Over here, pull that in. It kind of stops right there. You can pull down on it and then just close these all the way. These are your security latches. Close those all the way. Door closes good. Door opens all the way good. Now we just need to take out our protective wrap here. Which sometimes can be easier said than done. There we go. I just wanted to peel off on that side, but just try to get it off as big of pieces as you can. Put it on this side. There. This can be a pain in the butt sometimes to take this stuff off. There we go. Pull nice and evenly at a 45-degree angle or 90-degree angle. You usually tend to get it off in big pieces. If not, it'll tear on you. And so we got to come back like this little spot over here and just kind of pick it off slowly. There it goes. All right, and there you have it. That is our doors. They're now fixed.